Hello everybody and welcome back to our second race of the doubleheader here tonight in FEG Money Racing. Changing it up a little bit though, we are now at Daytona, bigger payout, higher entry fee, and it looks like we might even have some more drivers. So while it is a little bit later here tonight on Wednesday, the action is only getting more exciting. Thank you for joining us. You're watching the Green Ghost hosted on Ghost Racing Network. See these guys currently in qualifying with about 2.5 minutes left. We're looking at McCall Motorsports right now. Taking to the track as it looks like Josh Bonwell is currently going to take the top of the board for the moment. Could change at any time though. Thank you to everybody that showed up in the last stream and anyone that is showing up tonight. I do like Daytona better. There's more camera angles. I do think, I don't know, the racing just seems to be a little bit more fun sometimes to watch here at Daytona. And one thing to point out, a little bit maybe important to note, if you will, you see that tower on the top left, this tower logo that I'm using right now. Like I kind of was saying earlier, normally the stream would be much more creative in terms of more things for you guys, all that stuff. Just did not have the time tonight, unfortunately. Kind of a last minute issue, unfortunately screwed up everything that I had set up, which really sucked. But it was the first time that we got YouTube running pretty smoothly tonight. Tomorrow I will be setting up everything to run nice and smoothly, so I'm very excited for next time that I stream. We should be looking at a lot nicer formatted stuff and whatnot. Is the goal, but thank you guys for working with me. You let me know how the audio and game audio fits into you, if it's pretty good. Whatnot, as I am currently just setting up a couple more things for these drivers before they get started. Make sure everything is running as smooth as I can for them, as I know a lot of them like to go back and watch it after. We want to give them a nice piece to watch. And it looks like qualifying is just going to wrap up here, as these drivers are going to be taking the grid. Let's go ahead and switch this over to laps, as we're going to have another 40-lap shootout tonight. Still setting a couple things up. I am thinking, not sure how long after yet these streams will stay up posted, at least for probably a week until everyone has kind of seen them. And then this one, maybe the other one might get deleted just for now. Unfortunately, just like I said, A lot of things that were kind of just, they're not major issues, just minor things that really would like to scratch out and we can fix. Throwing the sponsors on here that are rightfully on here. Things like that, but we're just still working on it, man. But putting all that aside, let's get to the action on track and at hand. I am certainly excited to be here at Daytona, as I think we're about to see ourselves a really nice race. Let's go over your starting grid for the night. It looks like starting on the pole tonight, first place is going to be Autumn Koger. Nice lap by Autumn. This was group qualifying. And you're actually going to see here, it looks like those first 2 rows are swept by McCall Motorsports. Second is going to be Ron Morris Jr. Third, Ken McCall Jr. Fourth, David Sheets. Fifth, Jimmy Sox. Sixth, Josh Bonwell. Seventh, James Kaufman. Eighth, Junior Johnson, who we saw get the pole last race. Ninth, Garrett Maines. Garrett making his way in here. 10th, Matt Lee. 11th, Matthew Baker. 12th, Raymond Rittenauer the second. 13th, Nash Brambilla. 14th, Dijon Monte. 15th, Mark Vondell, and 16th, Christian Martinez. Good to see Christian getting back in here. So we're going to have a 16-truck field tonight, so I wasn't mistaken. It is actually a little bit less than last race, but don't let that fool you, as the payouts are going to probably be still bigger. And let's show some love to your pole sitter, Autumn Koger, for the night. Autumn had a very nice lap. And you see what teamwork can do as all those McCall Motorsports drivers work together. They got the job done all right. They swept those first 2 rows, and I think they're going to try to hold them. Have to believe that with these guys with the same fuel, I believe, are going to try the same strategies. And I think that first race gave a lot of these drivers a chance to recognize and say, hey, look, we know what strategies those top 4 of Matt Lee, Matthew Baker, and that crew did. And now Matthew Baker is going to pick up one of his dangerous teammates in Garrett Maines. So not only does Matthew Baker have Matt Lee, but now he has one of the dangerous competitors, Garrett Maines. Again, man, it just hurts me to see some of these driver bios that I haven't got the update so far tonight with the thing resetting. But I got to get over it, man. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. I'll have it fixed for next time. Pace car, though, is going to work his way out of 4 here. Real quick, while these guys are rolling up to the line, we'll let everybody know we are at Daytona International Speedway. We were at Talladega last time. It is nighttime under the lights. The best racing, nice, cool track. Cool temperatures means more horsepower. You're watching Ghost Racing Network, 2.5 mile super speedway. And these guys are ready to go at it as the pace car is going to pull off. Autumn is going to roll him to the green flag. Green flag is out. Autumn Koger with a good jump, as we see Jimmy Sox falling way back there on the inside. He did not have a good start. Trucks flying now into turn 1 as they're all trying to organize. And you see a lot of these, it looks like all 4 McCall Motorsports drivers all dropped on that inside lane as quick as they could. They know there's going to be a lot of challenge coming from some of these drivers that had to start in the back, because 4,000 iRating again did have to start in the back. And those drivers are going to try to make their way up to the front as quick as they can. But up front right now, it's going to be Autumn Koger with teammate Ken McCall pushing her. Ron Morris Jr. 3rd, David Sheets 4th. But now we see Junior Johnson on that outside trying to start to get it going. He's going to have Matt Lee and Raymond Rittenauer behind him. Garrett Maines and Matthew Baker also on the outside right now. And that outside is going to have a lot of momentum once they get there. We'll see if they can save it for the backstretch, but it's looking like they're going to catch it in the turn. It's not going to matter, though, because it's a ton of momentum. Matt Lee is going to push that 37 truck of Junior Johnson with everything he has. Working their way out of turn 2. We've now completed 2 laps so far to the 40 tonight. No 3 wide for the first at least couple laps, might even be 3 to 4. So everybody's got to keep themselves intact, but I would not be surprised if once it does go 3 wide, we see drivers such as Garrett Maines, Matthew Baker try to get their way to the front of this line. They might try to shuffle out one of those rookies of J.R. Johnson, who has shown a lot of speed. But nonetheless, those drivers behind would definitely like the lead. Take a look back in the pack a little bit here, see what everybody's doing. Take a look at Christian Martinez. Christian, one of the newer drivers, had a nice run the other night, got in the money spot. That might have been a different Christian. We have a couple Christians in here. I believe that was a different one. I'm not sure, but either way, Christian in that nice looking number 1 Grinch Christmas scheme. having a good run tonight. He's got Mark Vondell near him. Mark, I believe, currently the only McCall Motorsports driver not up there running together. Mark usually likes to play the strategy, kind of sit in the back till the end when it matters most. And then we have Dejon Monte sitting in the back here, sponsored by W Energy. He's trying to get the job done tonight. Nice looking green truck. We saw some other drivers to note, such as Josh Bonwell. He had issues in the first race of the doubleheader, some technical difficulties. We saw him go up into the wall about middle of the race. It ruined his night as he destroyed the right side of that truck. But it looks like he's got it back together now, ready to go in this race. Take you back up front as we do have a new leader. That inside lane is now being led by Junior Johnson outside Matt Lee. Working their way into turn 3. Matt Lee gave some really good pushing. Junior Johnson, you have to wonder as you see the 03 kind of backed up a little bit now. That's Kenneth McCall Jr. He may have been getting a little too hot as he had been pushing Autumn from the drop of the green. He was giving her everything that he could. And you know that these trucks can get hot quick. With it being nighttime, that gives these guys a little bit more leeway, but not much. Oh, and Matt Lee is going to slide. Oh, that's going to send the 37 up just a little bit. They keep it together. Boy, Matt Lee just slid in there. I mean, you could not put a piece of paper in between those two right there. That's going to set up Garrett Maines on the bumper of the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. Oh, boy, he is pushing him right now. You see that truck going sideways, and look at the run those two got. That is going to clear the 87. How about that for a push? And the 31 is going to get clear here. And how about that move from some of the drivers that had to start towards the back? Your new leader is that 87 truck of Raymond Rittenauer. That's going to put Matthew Baker now. That lead truck on the outside. He might have been looking for some fresh air, but now he is going to have Nash Brunvilla and Josh Bonwell behind him. And one of his teammates, Garrett Maines, is going to jump back up to the top now. And I'll tell you what, with as hard as I just saw Garrett Maines pushing the 87, you got to wonder what Matthew Baker can do for his teammate now. Down the back stretch, side by side. We have completed 6 laps of the 40 here. Racing has been side by side since the green. These guys not thinking about pit stops yet. We saw last time the later pitting seemed to work. However, one thing we might see is I would say look for those 3 to 4 trucks, those top 4 that you're looking at right now. The 2 on the inside, the 2 on the outside. Those guys very well might pit together as they are a dangerous group pushing together. They can run away from the field if they need to. Drivers flying by there from your pit lane cam. Into turn 1, Garrett Maines does snag the lead for a moment, but he is not going to drop down. He's still staying in top. He feels comfortable. And who wouldn't feel comfortable if they had their teammate up top? But looking towards the back, you see Mark Vondell now trying to generate a run. He's got Jimmy Socks. We haven't really talked about Jimmy tonight. Jimmy having a couple good runs. See if Jimmy can get the job done here at the end. Jimmy is currently running behind Mark Vondell, trying to give him a push. If these two can catch the draft a little bit stronger than they currently are in it right now, they could start to make up some ground quick. If you are just tuning in, you're watching Ghost Racing Network. FEG Money Racing doubleheader, second of the 2 races here at Daytona under the lights. Back up front, though, it's still going to be Garrett Maines to the inside, Raymond Rittenauer the second. And I have to believe some of these drivers, such as your pole sitter, Autumn Koger, they might, you see them not really pushing the issue too hard here. They might be saving a little bit of fuel. And some people do usually wonder, they say, well, what's the point of saving fuel if you can make it a one stop? Because I'll tell you what, saving just that little bit of fuel can make a big difference in your pit stop time. And at races like this, especially with one pit stop, and it's got to be a money stop, you want to get every second you can on pit road, every 10th of a second even. And it looks like Autumn Koger, Ken McCall Jr., Ron Morris Jr., a lot of these drivers back here aren't really pushing the issue on the bumper at all. Let's ride on board actually here with Ken McCall, who's kind of sitting back. Let's see if we can kind of see if he's trying to maybe just save a little bit or what he's doing here. And I'll tell you what, you listen to it there, it doesn't sound like he is full throttle the whole time. He's just kind of minding the gap. He's wanting to stay out of trouble. You see, he is still a little blind right now in terms of if they wreck up front. depends on the angle. But yes, you definitely hear him burping the throttle there, because he is not going to be too aggressive right now. Just maintaining the gap, saving himself a little fuel in the process. Looking at David Sheets. David sitting behind his teammate Ron Morris Jr. Ron have to burp the throttle here, a bit of a checkup, but up front, Raymond Rittenauer the second. He's got a nice clear view into turn one. Nobody in front of him. He is liking his position, excuse me. We see Garrett Maines on the outside. Matthew Baker still pushing. Let's see what Matthew's looking at as he is pushing Garrett with everything he's got right now. They might have enough of a run here, but will Garrett drop low if he gets clear? He's not going to be able to that time. You got to hope Matthew Baker isn't getting too hot. Take you back now up front. And I'll tell you what, we missed it last race as the racing action was solid the whole time, but we're sure not going to miss it this time. Let's do a little NASCAR iRacing Truck Series. Crank it up here at Daytona. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up at Daytona. I hope you guys did enjoy that. Up front, still the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer as we have completed 13 of the 40 laps so far here tonight. Pit stops coming probably around lap 20. We'll see who decides to go early, who decides to go late. But we have seen that outside only with 3 trucks, but Matthew Baker and Garrett Maines have stayed committed to it. They have not fallen back. We saw Garrett actually drop down early, but he was not able to stay down there. He wanted to hop back up in front of his teammate. Boy, you see that truck wiggling just a little bit. Matthew Baker is pushing Garrett with everything he can right now. They just can't quite get clear as Matthew Lee is doing a nice job of keeping that 87 up in the front right now. These McCall Motorsports drivers still playing it safe. Not as many Team 3 drivers in this one as we usually see. You do have James Kaufman and Josh Bonwell, but that is kind of a lone duo here tonight in the race, so they might have to team up with some other random drivers. But we haven't really talked about James Kaufman too much tonight. James, one of those drivers we usually see hanging towards the front for a good part of the race, but he is hanging back right now, just playing it safe as we see this inside start to lengthen out more and more. I think these drivers, some of them may be starting to think about a pit stop. I would be surprised to see him go this early, especially with the way the race played out last time. But you never know. As we take a look from the spotter view here, and I'll tell you what, I really like this view because there is no better view than seeing exactly how the runs are playing out. You can see right there's the 37 pulls to the 04's bumper, just gives him a little love tap and then backs off. Doesn't want to do anything too aggressive. Looks like seceded in the chat. Sorry you missed the race, bro. We hate to hear that. But, yes, there is a race tomorrow in D3. Get yourself in that one, man. Have a good time. Still side-by-side action at the front. But only for 2 rows, as that top lane, Nash Brambilla has found a spot in line. He wants no part of that top lane anymore. And I have to wonder if that's going to make Garrett and Baker think about dropping back. But they still seem to stay committed, and it's pretty impressive that they are able to stay this far to the front with just 2 trucks. But you got to wonder how long that can last. Usually you need that third truck, is once that second truck unhooks from the first truck's bumper, it's just hard to stay there. Can't quite do it a lot of the times. But as these guys are single file, take one more time just to remind you that on Friday, FEG is having its New Year's money race. And you talk about a big payout. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Top 8 all making well over what they paid to enter. So make sure you go get yourself in that or check it out. It will be streamed by OSRN Joe White. He does a great job. Go check out that broadcast. Get yourself in that race. Still not much change at the front for the moment, as we are slowly getting closer to halfway. We've got about 5 laps until we hit halfway. These drivers all staying pretty calm. We haven't really had any incidents tonight. Just a couple of close calls, but I will say it looks like some of these drivers, after the way the first race went, a little calmer, and that's a little surprising to see there. Got to think the 87 maybe burped the throttle a little bit right there, as the 31 and the 5 got a huge run and just pulled right to the lead here. They are going to lead this entire lane down the backstretch on the inside. Wonder if pit stops were coming up soon. They don't want to have to deal with trying to pit from the outside, as that is almost impossible to do unless the entire field's pitting. You don't want to be stuck there if the rest of the field's pitting. And it looks like nobody's going to pit this time. They're all going to stay out. Good looking view of these trucks as they come through the tri-oval to complete lap. 23 to go, it's looking like now. The new leader at the moment is Garrett Maines, second. Matthew Baker, third. Raymond Rittenauer, the second. Fourth, Matt Lee. And rounding out the top 5, Junior Johnson. Very impressed so far with this man, Junior Johnson. He has been showing a pretty good amount of aggression so far tonight in this doubleheader, and it is paying off for him. Didn't get a great break in the first race, but fortune does favor the bold, and he has certainly made some bold moves so far tonight. He is going to stay on that. As you see, Josh Bondwell, the other Team 3 driver in here tonight. It looks like we are going to have some pit stops now. And no. Well, isn't that surprising? They actually faked their pit road entry. And that is not something you see a lot. These guys are playing some mind games with each other. I have been a part of those mind games before, unfortunately on the bad end of it. Some of these drivers that are really fast that you see in your top 4, for example. And when I say fast, let me justify it. All these guys are fast. I'm talking about the guys that just seem to work a little better sometimes with their specific teammates than others. We have seen time and again with some of these drivers that we see in your top 10, if they can link up, they will just pull away. They only need 3 trucks. That's what some of these drivers are afraid of. That's why they are trying their hardest to pit with them. But like I said, this is where those mind games get played. At see, are they going to play the mind games more? They are. They continue to play the mind games, and this is getting really interesting to watch. They got to be careful doing this, though, as that could cause a wreck coming back up on the track. And I will say, I have not seen something like this in a little while, but we see Junior Johnson jump into the outside lane. He says, I'm tired of these games, man. I want to go to the front. Unfortunately, though, Junior, you're not going to get any help. A lot of these drivers waiting to pit, man. You got to stay tucked in line. That's probably going to send him to the back, as these drivers probably aren't going to cut him a break. One thing, though, that makes me a little weary is seeing these pit road games played. I have a feeling this might cause some accidents once we actually do enter the pit road, because I think some of these guys are just going to get way too late into their braking zone and not be able to handle the truck. But we will see. And are they going to do it for real this time? They are. You see the backfires out of all the pipes. You better believe they are pitting this time, as it looks like so far so clean. We had a lot of them, and they all did a nice job getting on the pit road clean. All going to make their way into their boxes now. We'll see who wins the race off pit road. This could be crucial. As you see them all propping up the left side. That means a lot of these guys are taking the left side tires. It looks like the race off pit roads is going to go to Garrett Maines, but Ken McCall Jr. is going to come out second now. That shuffles it up just a little bit now, as we're going to go back up front and see when I believe I would expect Autumn Koger and Nash Brambilla to pit this time, as there are 2 lone trucks out there. If they don't pit this time, they could be in trouble. Oh, Junior Johnson with an issue. Junior Johnson with a pretty significant issue. We're going to go look at that, but first let's see if these two, looks like they are going to get their pit stop in okay. As we see the rest of these guys getting back on track for the moment, but let's see if we can find out what happened to Junior Johnson here. We're going to go take a look. I'll be right back here. And we are taking a look now, and it looked like there was some significant contact in this one. So let's take a look here, though. See Autumn Koger underneath. Ooh, that's a tough angle, but either way, looks like the 37 gets spun into turn one. Does not draw the caution from iRacing. That is a little bit surprising, but you see he is off the racing surface for the moment. But this is where it gets a little dangerous sometimes, as you never know where. Oh, man, look at Ron Morris Jr. Oh, no, wrong timing. Oh, that is a huge hit. And I cannot believe that didn't draw the caution. Oh, no, that is a horrible break for Ron Morris Jr., who, looking with that impact, is almost guaranteed going to have to take his fast repair. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. And I'll tell you what, I don't like that call from iRacing. I feel like there's a chance that could have been avoided if iRacing would have thrown the caution. We know that in FEG, we do leave it to iRacing to avoid any controversy. And while the rule is solid, it is super unfortunate in events like that, where if the caution was thrown when he first spun, it may have given Ron Morris a chance to slow down before he came up on the spinning Junior Johnson. But either way, those two are going to need a caution now if they want any chances. We see down the back straightaway, that is going to be your race for the win. But right now, your race for the win is going to be within these top five drivers. Your current top five: Matthew Baker first, Matt Lee second, Raymond Rittenauer the second, Garrett Maines fourth, and Kenneth McCall Jr. kind of the lone wolf up here in fifth, but we know he can run. He is one of the veterans in these money racing, and he can run with the pros no problem, as he had a very nice pit stop. Played it conservative, put himself in position now. Now it's just going to be a matter of him trying to find someone to work with. Unfortunately, I did miss the move where Matthew Baker overtook, as we did see Garrett come out first, Ken come out second. They were shuffled to the back. Have to believe those last three trucks got a run and just went right by those two. But as you see it again there in the distance, this pack being led by Nash Brambilla, they are going to try to catch. I don't know if they can. It is going to depend on how this pack runs. But currently, it looks like they are about 6.5 seconds back and currently losing time. So they're going to have to figure something out really soon. Excuse me, sorry. But, yeah, and actually, if you're in this pack, you are in good position. I don't look to see these guys race at all until we get to that white flag, as they are all currently top five, and top five is the payout. So, as we said in the last race, why take yourself out of the money if you don't have to? These guys will all make sure they're guaranteed a spot, and then they'll get a little racy with it at the end. And that gap is now almost to 7 seconds in that one lap, so not looking good for the moment. We will check back in later. But right now, as we have had no cautions tonight, we did have an on-track accident. It did not waiver the caution, though, but it did, however, collect the 37 of Junior Johnson and the 76 of Ron Morris Jr. Both of those drivers have been really good up to that point. And you see, taking a look at your track map there, kind of breaks it down for you. You have this leading pack just about to enter turn one. You have that second pack just down the tri-oval. And a couple scattered little packs and single cars throughout the track. Never a dull moment here at Daytona. And this is that point in the race, is yes, the gap now has grown to almost 8 seconds. This group back here just can't seem to get it going or something. As you see David Sheets get Nash Brambilla a little wiggly there. Touches the apron. They're definitely going to be pushing as hard as they can. They got to be careful, though. I know those drivers up front are certainly hoping these guys do not create a caution. We'll see if they decide to get a little racy. But you just see, and this is usually your signature of it. If you looked at that line right there as they were coming down the front stretch, just kind of shaky. You see this kind of like snake-like movement. David Sheets tucking out. Autumn not really able to hang on his bumper the whole time. we call that disorganized, very, very disorganized. But when you look more up front here, see if we can take a good look at it for you. Look how smooth these guys are here. Ken McCall kind of hanging back as he doesn't need to push, but look how smooth these 4 trucks are. You do not see too much bobbing and weaving from these 4, as they are playing with the air perfect around each other. You see Matt Lee, he'll tuck right up to Matthew Baker here. And they'll get a ton of speed down the front stretch through the tri-oval. Gap now almost 9 seconds, so we're just going to ignore it for the moment, as it doesn't seem like it is going to be a factor anymore. And they are coming up on the lap truck. It is the one truck of Christian Martinez. We saw Christian with that nice looking scheme, unfortunately having a rough day at the moment. It's looking like he is going to go a lap down. Not a fan of seeing that for Christian, but it does happen sometimes. Boy, that's a cool camera there, isn't it? As we see Christian Martinez dropping in behind these guys. Not looking like he's going to be able to keep the draft at the moment either. We'll see if he can hold on, but it is not looking too solid for him right now. Take a look at the split of manufacturers that are up at the front right now. You can see it right there. A group of Chevys with that one Toyota of Matt Lee in between them. One of the things, though, you see in iRacing that you don't really see in real life is you don't see too much of manufacturer teammates as you just see teammates. These guys usually don't care what kind of truck it is that they're working with as long as they like them. And I'll tell you what, these top 4 certainly like each other. They find each other each race. But I cannot give enough credit right now to the man sitting in 5th. Got to feel like anytime you can stick with the pros after the pit stop, you know you did something right. Ken McCall from McCall Motorsports. Going to try to bring it home tonight for McCall Motorsports, but boy, he is going to have to get some help from somebody. However, it is going to be interesting as the teammates of Matthew Baker and Garrett Maines are split up by 2 trucks. And those 2 trucks, I don't know if they'll just sit here once we take the white flag. We might see a move made by them. We did see Matt Lee stick to and push Matthew Baker last race. They couldn't quite get the win, but he did stay loyal to him nonetheless. So we'll see what he decides to do this race. As you obviously do want to help the guy in front of you, but these guys are also all going for money. And the higher up you finish, the more money you win, as they are coming up now in the lap car, Mark Vondel. And if Mark could somehow catch the draft, this could be really huge for Ken McCall. We see Mark blinking. And I'll tell you what, let's watch here. I would not be surprised if Ken tries to fall back a little bit here and grab Mark. Yeah, you see what he's doing right here. He is hanging that gap back just a little bit. He's trying to keep Mark with him. If he could bring Mark Vondel up here, this could be really, really a game changer for Kenneth McCall. Not looking like he can do it, though, for the moment. Mark is trying. A lot of times you need that second truck behind you if you're going to make it happen. Yeah, and it's just not looking like Mark's going to be able to hang with him. Ken trying everything he can do. Just can't seem to pull Mark Vondel in, though. Interesting enough, it's kind of weird. It seems these trucks, in my opinion, have the biggest draft field of the 3 series, Xfinity, Cup Series, and trucks. It is really close between the trucks and the Xfinity, though, I will say. However, sometimes it does seem like if you are a single truck getting passed by a draft, you have to try to side draft that main pack going by. Otherwise, for one reason or another, you just can't seem to stay in the draft all the time. That doesn't apply every time, but definitely a decent amount of time. But I saw that last year. It looked like Mark was still kind of hanging on. Yeah, but it looks like it here. Mark is still hanging on. He just can't seem to quite pull up to that draft, though, yet. We'll keep an eye on that for you. But up front, it is still all Matthew Baker. He has been leading pretty much since the last pit stop. He didn't win the race out of pit road, but he took the lead shortly after, and he has held it that way since. 76 of Ron Morris. That is another McCall Motorsports teammate, and that should do it right there. Yep, they are definitely going to keep the draft. Now, as Pending Ron has no damage, Mark Vondel will catch Ron's draft, push him, and they are already in that main draft. And just when you think Ken McCall is a lone wolf, he is going to get help from 2 teammates. It's looking like still not there yet. And I know Ken is just praying. Look at the gap Ken is given right now. He's trying. He really wants to keep his teammates with him. If you're just tuning in, definitely go back and check out earlier. We had some pit road games, and it was something that I have not seen in a while. These guys played mind games with each other for about 4 laps of they were going to pit, and then they weren't going to pit. Trying to get guys to commit where they can't pull out. It's too late. They'll lose the draft if they do. And guess what? Look who has made it to the bumper of that 03 truck. It's the 76, followed by the 59. Ken McCall Jr. Now, you got to wonder when he's going to make that move. We know he will. He's going to have 2 teammates behind him. And that is all he is going to need to go give that leader of Matthew Baker a charge on that outside lane. You got to wonder what these top 4 are thinking now. They see that in their mirror. You got to wonder if Garrett Maines will go up and try to block it, or if he's just going to have to accept it, as that gap that we were talking about earlier is now back to 10.5 seconds. And unfortunately, these guys not going to be able to catch that lead pack. They might as well race now. Have some fun with it. You paid to be here. But certainly a lot of fight, a lot of spirit still being shown as they are going to try until they can't try no more. Back up front, still waiting for things to heat up though. Matthew Baker leads him into turn 3. And this is looking like currently it's going to be a 4-on-3 battle. But I don't think all 4 of those first trucks are going to stay where they are. Got to wonder how Ken is going to set it up here. Will he wait to the last lap? Will he try to set up beforehand? If he does get clear, does he drop lower? Does he stay in front of his teammates? We talk about it time and time again, though, but it is so important to have teammates for reasons like this. Even if your teammates are having a bad day, they can still help you have a good one. In this case, both Ron Morris and Mark Vondel are multiple laps down, but that doesn't matter because they're going to be able to help their teammate here. And I'll tell you what, I've been in the Discord with those guys. I am on McCall Motorsports when I do race. They are all about helping each other. It is a team effort nonetheless. And now we are seeing Matt Lee drop off the bumper a little bit of Matthew Baker now. And Baker, we see dominate time and time again. He usually doesn't need to throw a block, as I think he's going to have Matt Lee stick with him if it comes down to that, unless Matt makes the move. But we're going to be coming to 3 to go next time. And I can guarantee you these top 5 certainly don't want to see a caution. I don't think they'll have to worry about it too much right now, as this pack in the back not really getting too racy for now. Just kind of all hanging around. Jimmy Socks pushing on Dijon Monte. Josh Bonwell in front of them. Josh had some technical difficulties early, unfortunately. Didn't make the pit stop strategy work in this race. Back up front, taking them to 3 to go now is still Matthew Baker. No one's made a move yet. And this is that calm before the storm. You see it a lot of these super speedway races. Got to think with the bigger payout tonight, these guys, they're going to get a little antsy here. They do want to save it for the white flag, though. Is usually the goal. You try to hustle to the white flag. Once you know there's no more cautions, then it's time to get real racy. Don't forget, after the race is over, we are going to get interviews with your top 3. If we can, it depends on where they are. I know Matthew Baker will probably be around. Hopefully Matt Lee will be around. All depends on how it shuffles out, though. We could see Ken McCall Jr. get up here and take the win. 2 to go, the last lap for a caution. We'll see who is going to get it here. Still no move yet from that 03 truck. He still sits back. And if someone beats him to it, that's going to put him in a little bit of an awkward situation, I have to believe. It looks like the 87 now is backing up. He might be creating a run. We'll see if Garrett Maines goes with him. Down the back stretch this time. 87 starting to run up now. He still stays tucked in line, though, for the moment. No move yet. You see that pack in the back of your screen there. They're not going to be an issue. They're racing each other for fun right now. The money spots are all in that 1st through 5th battle right now. Sorry, let me go back up front. I didn't mean to do that. White flag this time for Matthew Baker. We'll see if he can see the checkered first. Into turn 1. Still no move yet. The 87 falling back a little bit again. You see that 03. He is also creating a gap. Let's take a look from the spotter stand. That's the best view in the house. 87 now. He's looking high. Will Garrett Maines go with him? Oh, and the 03 truck's going to take up 3 wide. He's got Ron Morris Jr. behind him. A little bit of contact between the 03 and Garrett Maines. Ooh, but Matthew Baker. Oh, they're getting a run. They're wrecking back. Garrett Maines and Kenneth McCall Jr. are going to wreck. That is going to make a battle for back. But here they come to the line. Side by side. The 87's got no help. Matt Lee pushing. Matthew Baker's going to win. We go back now to the battles. This race is not over yet. Can the 6 beat the 03 to the line? It is going to be close. And it looks like Autumn Koger is going to secure your 5th place spot. Oh, and Kenneth McCall Jr. was so close. We see him just sitting there. Oh, that is a tough break for Ken. Just let's see how close he was real quick. Oh, man, those guys took each other out at the worst time. They were guaranteed money. Can't be happy about that. But let's go back up front to your race winner, Matthew Baker, who got it done tonight. Almost won the first one, but has no problem taking home the win in the second one. And he has got to be thanking Matt Lee, who continues to help him. He worked with him in the first race, and he worked with him in this race. Baker's going to burn it down here. So he's going to gladly accept a nice payday on a Wednesday night. And his teammate, Garrett Maines, is going to do burnouts with him. Garrett finished 4th. But they're both happy to have won. Well, they're both happy that one of their teammates won. And we are going to go to break real quick to go find your top 3, hopefully to interview them. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, and we have found your top 3. First, we're going to start with your 3rd place finisher tonight, Raymond Rittenauer II. Raymond, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Raymond, you had a pretty solid run all night. We saw after you executed your pit stop perfectly, it did come down to, like it usually does, you 4 to 5. But then we saw the 03 truck. He had a couple teammates behind him. They were going to make a move there late. It looked like your pushing partner there at the end, Garrett Maines, just got a little tangled up with the 03 truck. What happened there at the end?
Yeah, I went back and looked at it. It looked like Ken got bumped a little from behind and then went down into Garrett. That sucks for Ken there. I think he went through pit road and then got sent to the back. But yeah, we were just all in the line there and pulling on the field. Pretty easy night.
Well, you certainly had a good race, man. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
yeah, my sponsor, Lucky Dogs, Matt Lee, Baker, Garrett, my teammates there. Yeah, and you guys for putting on a good broadcast.
No problem, man. Good race. Congratulations, and we will see you next time. That is your third place finisher, Raymond Rittenauer, the second in the 87 truck. And now your second place finisher, Matt Lee. Matt, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, in both races tonight, we have seen you be very loyal to Matthew Baker. You almost pushed him to the win in the first one. You did push him to the win this time. What was going through your head there at the end? Did you think you want to make a move, or were you determined you were going to push that 5 truck to victory?
Yeah, I was gonna push him until, if the top was open off of 4 where I could have maybe pulled out on him, I would have. But I'm not gonna do anything reckless, especially when they came 3 wide there. It was I got stalled back so quick, and it was kind of crazy how it all played out. It sucks for Ken, man. I hate that for him. It was a fun race.
It was certainly fun to watch. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, you for putting on the broadcast tonight, Jeff for putting on the race for us, Garrett, Baker, Ray. Heck of a race. It was a lot of fun. Guys at Tranquility Sports, Martin Sports, wife for letting me race. The normal people.
All right, man. Well, congrats on the second place finish. We will see you next time. Have a good night.
Thanks, bud.
Yep. And here with your winner, the man of the hour, first in this race, second in the last race. Sounds like a pretty good night to me, Matthew Baker. You got a copy?
I got you, Austin.
Well, you pretty much dominated this race just about after that first pit stop. You didn't win the race out of pit road, but once you took the lead, you never looked back. What did you need to get it done there how did you get it done there at the end when you had Matt Lee pushing behind you? Did you think he would make a move at all?
Yeah, I think if he would have pushed us clear and he knew the run behind us was going to go, he's going to jump up. But we trusted each other there coming down the line. We were trying to just get the 1 through 4. It sucks for Ken, just like everyone else has said, but sucks that he got pushed down into the Garrett. Sucks for him, but I'm glad we could get the 1 through 4. I knew when we got on the pit road, if we could execute getting out of pit road, we were going to have a pretty good chance in gapping these guys, and we all executed. So I'm glad that happened.
You executed very nicely. Is there anyone you want to shout out or thank before we let you enjoy your winnings for the night?
Yeah, just again, thanks to Coasting Thunder, MBJ Motorsports, Warriors Wraps, Baker and Son Construction. Thanks to family watching back at home, teammates, Ray, Matt, and Garrett there. Thanks for putting on the broadcast, and Jeff for putting on the races as always.
No problem, man. Congrats on that win. We will see you in the next race.
Thanks, man.
Yep. All right, and that'll wrap that up. But let's go back and take a look at a couple things before we do leave, because we do have some things to review about that finish, including the 03 spinning, that close finish that it was. I think if Raymond did have some help there at the end, it certainly would have been a lot closer than it was. And this is where the action really started to pick up. Let's start at about here. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a better angle. Let's go with TV1. Let's see what happens here. You see 03 truck, he kind of runs here. He did have a behind him. They get into turn 3, and Ron really wants to help his team win it, but just a bad push. Goes down to Garrett Maines, and it cleans both of them out. We're coming to the start-finish line here. See Ron Morris just not really able to get up to the bumper of that 76. Meanwhile, Matt Lee and Matthew Baker are hooked up very nicely on the bottom. And that is your winner by a pretty solid margin. Matthew Baker takes home the win tonight. Take one more look back at this incident, though, as I want to make sure you can see. Take a look at Kenneth McCall Jr. back here in this 03 truck. You see how the 76 is currently on his bumper. You just can't really do that. He's pushed him in the corner here. He's pretty square, but he's just going to get just a tiny bit offset to the right. You see it there, and that's going to push him right down into the 31. And then he's going to bump him again. Garrett looks like he would have saved it, actually, but unfortunately, a spinning Ken still coming down. Feel bad for Ken and Garrett on that one. Garrett, maybe a little less. He did still end up in the money, but I definitely feel bad for Ken as he was in the money. Had it all but locked down. Just unfortunately did not work out at the end. Hate to see that. But let's take a look at your results for the night. First place, we just talked to him. Your winner was Matthew Baker. Second, Matt Lee. Third, Raymond Ritnar. The second. Fourth, Garrett Maines. Fifth, Autumn Koger. Sixth, James Kaufman. Seventh, Nash Brambilla. Eighth, David Sheets. Ninth, Ken McCall Jr. after that spin off turn 4 on the last lap. 10th, Josh Bonwell. 11th, Dijon Monte. Or sorry, I might have said that wrong. 11th, Dijon Monte. 12th, Mark Vondell. 13th, Christian Martinez. 14th, Jimmy Sox. 15th, Ron Morris Jr. 16th, Junior Johnson. And that was your last truck rounding out the field. And then the last couple notes before we let everyone go here tonight. Do not forget Friday again, the big mega race. Not the mega money race, but a pretty big one for FEG, their New Year's race. Huge prize payout will be on OSRN Network. You can watch them on YouTube or Facebook, maybe even Twitch, I believe. So go check that out. Get yourself signed up. Get involved in that one. It is certainly going to be a good one. I do want to thank everybody again for coming out. Make sure you do like, subscribe if you can. It helps us out a lot. I do apologize one more time. I know the broadcasts were pretty scrappy tonight. Once I got YouTube working, unfortunately, I did have an issue that deleted everything I had set up, and I had to kind of rush it all together in the last 20 minutes. But with the YouTube now working, it opens up a lot of opportunity for us. So the broadcast will be getting better. I plan on setting everything straight tomorrow night. I will let you guys know when you will see me next when I know. But thank you all for coming out. Happy New Year's if I don't see you again.